Hi guys, welcome. This is Lisa from astrologysphere.com. In this video I'm going to be doing eclipse forecasts for the upcoming eclipse season, which begins on the 26th of December and extends to the 21st of June 2020. So what I'm going to do is look at the main energies surrounding eclipse season, and then I'm going to break these down sign by sign for each of the 12 zodiac signs. This is something new I've introduced to my website for members, so it's probably something I'm going to be sending out with my moon phase newsletters, which normally go out twice a month. So if you're interested in receiving these on a regular basis, then please do subscribe. All you have to do is go to astrologysphere.com/subscribe and sign up. It's absolutely free, and it would be fabulous to have you on this journey with me as we go into 2020. So without further ado, let's get into this forecast. So before we get into the individual forecasts, I'm just going to give an overall summary of the main energies that will be constellating in relation to the eclipse cycle between now and June 2020. I have, if you're interested, also done a more in-depth video which looks at the kind of macro cycles relating to the last decade and the energies that relate to these particular eclipses, as well as the Saturn-Pluto conjunction. So if you're interested in that, then you can have a look at my other video, which is called something like the December 26th solar eclipse big picture. So kick-starting eclipse season is the solar eclipse in Capricorn, which happens on the 26th of December 2019. So this begins a brand new 6-month cycle for the collective, which will last until the 21st of June 2020, when we have a new eclipse, a new solar eclipse that will take us into the next eclipse cycle. So this particular eclipse, like most solar eclipses, happens at new moon. So you could say that these type of events are really turbocharged new moons, where you are looking to plant the seeds and set your intentions for the upcoming 6 months. This particular eclipse happens, as I said, in the sign of Capricorn. Capricorn on the whole is the archetypal father or authority figure. So Capricorn concerns power, responsibility, it's the inner parent, it's parenting in general, it's taking responsibility for things, owning things. It's also about working towards achieving your ambitions. Capricorn is earth energy, so this is fantastic for manifesting of all kinds. It's really great for career and coin, basically. So whilst the last eclipse cycle concerned the private sphere, this is very much about the public sphere. It's about making your mark, it's about shining in the world, and it's about achieving what it is that you want to achieve when it comes to your New Year's resolutions. So where there is a solar eclipse, there tends to be a follow-up lunar eclipse, and this year things are no different. After the solar eclipse in Capricorn, we're followed with a lunar eclipse in Cancer on the 10th of January, so in the opposite sign. So lunar eclipses happen at full moon, and they are like turbocharged full moons. Full moons on the whole tend to be about culminations or endings, and in this case what we're doing is closing out the last eclipse cycle, which began on the 2nd of July 2019 with the solar eclipse in Cancer. So Cancer is a water sign. It's the archetypal mother. This is about family, it's about the past, it's about the unconscious, it's about habits, also diet to an extent, it's about self-care. And Cancer, being a water sign, tends to be concerned with emotional things. We have to bear in mind that this is also occurring at the full moon, and that the moon is at home in the sign of Cancer. So this could be quite an emotional time, a time of release, a time of letting go, a time of endings. So that's just something to bear in mind during the first half of January, and as we go into the waning moon cycle, there may be things that you need to close out from last year before you can move fully into the solar eclipse energy that will be getting underway on December the 26th. So as if it wasn't enough to have two eclipses beginning a brand new decade, we are also due to have a Saturn-Pluto conjunction in the sign of Capricorn on the 12th of January 2020. So this begins a brand new cycle as far as these two planets are concerned. They tend to come together every 35 or so years. It's a little bit, it varies a little bit because of Pluto's elliptical orbit. Essentially, these two planets have very similar resonances. That's because before Pluto was discovered in the 1930s, many of the attributes that it now carries were assigned to the planet Saturn. Saturn was considered to be the outermost planet in the classical pantheon of planets. So a lot of the symbolism between the two overlap. Saturn is the archetypal Grim Reaper. It's also the archetypal father. So you could say that this is Emperor energy. Then we have Pluto, which is also associated with power, usually hidden power, invisible power. Pluto in many respects is symbolized by the phoenix, so this is death and then rebirth. So we're talking more about cycles here. Together, the two of them coming together in the sign of Capricorn is really quite intense energy. It's quite serious. It's also earth-based, so it's very much to do with what happens on Earth, structures that underpin the fabric of our lives. So we're talking here about power structures, so political structures. We're talking about banking. We're talking about bureaucracy. So those things on a mundane level, we might see some changes happening there. Together, Saturn and Pluto are about cutting back, stripping back. So it's possible that at this time, you know, this energy could coincide with an economic recession. I do talk about the macro trends to do with Saturn and Pluto in my video on the big picture concerning the solar eclipse. So if you're interested in how the Saturn-Pluto conjunction fits into the trends that have been happening over the last decade or so, then have a watch of that video. Needless to say, this energy will, because it's happening in the same sign as the solar eclipse, there will be some sort of continuation when it comes to the December 26th solar eclipse. It's also fair to say that many of us will already have a sense of what this energy is all about, because Saturn and Pluto were going in and out of orb of each other during 2019. They came very close to each other in the first quarter of 2019, and then they went retrograde and parted ways, and then they started to come back together again in November, December of 2019. So you've probably already got a sense that this is quite heavy energy. It's about letting go of things. It's about the truth. It's about revealing what's hidden. It's also to do with rebuilding and restructuring. It's about karmic justice and karmic rebalancing. So essentially about divine timing too, and a sort of, I hate to use the word reckoning, but that's certainly a possibility when it comes to these two planets. There's not really a lot of a sense of mercy when it comes to either Saturn or Pluto. This is the hard taskmaster and the lord of the underworld. So these are not easy energies to have to deal with, but nonetheless, if you're prepared to kind of own your stuff, if you're prepared to do the work that they demand of you, then you can reap some fantastic rewards in the future. It's just worth bearing in mind that because these planets move so slowly, you're not likely to see immediate rewards for your actions. This is more long term. This is kind of building the foundations for the future. So that in a nutshell is a summary of the three main kind of energies that will be at play in the background between now and June of 2020. Just commenting overall, it's worth saying that in many respects this is about a balancing of masculine and feminine energies. So Capricorn in tarot terms, you could associate with not just the world and the devil, but also the emperor. And Cancer, although it is associated with the moon card and with the chariot, you could also associate it to an extent with the empress energy, because it's the archetypal mother. The sun and moon have similar resonances. These are the cosmic yin and yang energies. So we're talking about the sun is masculine energy and the moon is, generally speaking, feminine energy. So you could say that between now, sort of over the next 6 months, that there's a balancing happening between masculine and feminine energies. Right, so let's get into the individual forecasts. The best way to leverage these is to listen to the forecast for your rising sign, your ascendant. This will ensure that the planets are in the correct position as far as life areas are concerned, so they're more likely to be accurate when it comes to predictions. Although you can also listen for your sun sign and then for your moon sign. If you'd like to order a personal forecast for the upcoming 6 months or 12 months, you can go to my website and order one from astrologysphere.com. So it's time to have a look at the sign of Gemini. So Geminis, you'll be starting a new cycle at the solar eclipse on the 26th that really looks at your relationship not just with possessions but also with people, and how the two things tie together. So you'll notice that there's a lot of themes that run through all the various elements that we're looking at, including the solar-lunar eclipse, the transit of Jupiter in Capricorn, and of course the Saturn-Pluto conjunction, which is also happening in Capricorn. So for Geminis, the next 6 months between now and June 2020, you're looking at starting new cycles when it comes to money that belongs to it's sort of joint finances. So it's to do with the financial obligations, debts, taxes, loans, losses, money owed to others. So it could be that you owe the bank money, for example, or that you owe the tax authorities money. But it could also be that you and a close personal friend or partner decide to go into business, because this is also the area that rules joint ventures or projects. There's another way that this could work, and that's to do with inner resources. So how much time you give to significant others, how much of yourself you're prepared to share, and vice versa. So this is definitely a 6 months cycle where you're looking at how to balance these more and make things work, because Capricorn's all about making things work. It's about pragmatism. It's also about joint responsibility, and on that score, the Cancer lunar eclipse will be it's kind of almost the corresponding, you know, what comes in, something must go out. And so when it comes to the Cancer eclipse on the 10th of January, you'll be looking at releasing perhaps hang-ups around money or possessions. You may also be feeling that, you know, money isn't everything, that sometimes it's more important to have quality of life rather than a big fat salary. And also that when it comes to relationships, that it's not all about what the other person can bring to the party from a financial point of view. You know, people can give in lots of different ways, and it could be of their time, it could be of their energy, their sympathy, their love. They could help you by providing a home in which you can sort of go out and be the breadwinner. So it's really looking at the different forms of nurturing and self-care, and the give and take of love, and the emotions surrounding money. So I don't think that these themes are going to be new to you, because this is closing out a cycle that began on the 2nd of July 2019. So you'll really know what these themes pertain to, and it's just a case of the last little bit of residue or issues, outstanding issues that need to be released before you can really move forward into your new solar-lunar cycle, kind of after the midpoint of January. And then it's important to say that For the solar eclipse, Jupiter in Capricorn plays a major role in this, and Jupiter is a really wonderfully expansive energy, so this is giving you the opportunity to expand your horizons when it comes to close partnerships. And we take that into consideration with the themes of the solar eclipse by themselves. It could be that you take a relationship to the next level, or you decide to combine resources and perhaps buy a property together, go into business. You may decide to set up a business with your significant other. You may meet somebody that you really feel you can kind of vibe with creatively, or spiritually. You kind of you combine strengths and weaknesses in a way that makes you stronger together than apart. Or you could look at perhaps getting some legal or financial advice. So this is all about finding the right person to really help you enhance your finances and business, and take things forward, expanding things between now and June 2020. So the final transit that will be playing a major role in the energies between now and February is the Saturn-Pluto conjunction on the 12th of January. So for Geminis, this is all about taking responsibility, cutting back or making changes to matters to do with tax, to do with a partner or spouse's money, to do with inheritances. It could be that there's an outstanding legal issue, it could be alimony, it could be divorce proceedings, but more than likely this is about something that you has been kind of lingering around for the last few years, and really you kind of need to put it to bed. It could also be that in order to work more closely with somebody and to get this joint venture off the ground, that you need to make some adjustments to your work or health or your schedules. Maybe you need to put a pet in daycare because you're not at home as much. Perhaps you need to make some adjustments to your routines and schedules so that the two of you can find time to work on things together. Or it could be that you need to reduce stress in your life, and this means making some adjustments to your lifestyle. And this is really on a day-to-day level. So these are all things to think about when we come to the Saturn-Pluto conjunction on the 12th. Of course, these planets move very slowly, so this energy will carry forward into the next few months, but you probably will have felt it throughout 2019 because Saturn and Pluto were coming together slowly and then kind of going apart. So you might want to cast your mind back to particularly the beginning of 2019 to see if there's any correspondences with what comes up mid-January 2020. So guys, that's really it. I hope you've enjoyed these horoscopes, that they've been helpful to you and given you some pointers on the major trends that are going to be happening for you between now and June of 2020. If you haven't already, you may want to go to my website and find out more about eclipses. I do have a library of eclipses going back about 15 years, so if you're interested in looking at previous eclipses, then please sign up for my membership. It's free. It gives you access to my eclipse library. It gives you my it also means that you get my bi-monthly newsletters, which I send out to everyone on my mailing list, and it also means that you get exclusive and early access to any upcoming forecasts that I do that are not in the public domain. So with that, I wish you all the best for 2020. I hope the eclipses bring you everything that you hope for. Good luck with the Saturn-Pluto conjunction, and hope to see you again really soon.